Let's practice using our understanding of parallel and perpendicular lines to find some missing values together. All right, so it looks like we're looking for some value of k here that's going to satisfy some different conditions. On a given line, we know we have the 2 points of 2k plus 1 comma negative 4 and 5 comma 3 minus k. This 2k plus 1 will be our x1, and this negative 4 will be our y1. This 5 over here will be our x2, and this 3 minus k will be our y2. Now this line is going to be parallel to another line that has the given points of negative 4 comma negative 9 and 2 comma negative 3. Now these 2 points are going to be on a different line that's parallel to the first line, so this is going to be our x1, y1, but on a different line. And this will be our x2, y2 for this other line as well. Notice how they just give us numbers for these coordinates so we can actually find the slope using these 2 points. So here's our slope formula, and let's go ahead and substitute in the values that we have. After substituting in our values, let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. And if we simplify this, we can see that our slope of this line is going to be 1. So if this is the slope of the line that goes through these 2 points over here, then it's going to be the same slope as the line that goes through these 2 points over here. So now let's focus in on these 2 points, and let's use our slope formula again. Substituting in the values we have for x1, y1 and x2, y2. This is what we're going to get, and then if we go ahead and distribute these negatives to each of these terms after the negatives, we can go ahead and get then if we just go ahead and combine some like terms on the top and combine some like terms on the bottom, we're going to get this negative k plus 7 on top. And then on the bottom, we're going to end up with this negative 2k plus 4. So I believe this is as simplified as we can go here. And it's at this point, you want to remember that these 2 lines are parallel to each other, which means the slope of this first line, which we found out was equal to 1, has to be the same slope as this line over here. So let's go ahead and substitute this in real quick. And so we can write that 1 is equal to this expression right here. Let's go ahead and take this equation that just has one variable in it, and let's go ahead and solve it over here. Now there's a few ways you can go about solving this algebraically, but on the left side I'm just going to write 1 as 1 over 1. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use cross multiplication and multiply the cross products here. Multiplying the cross products, we're going to get this equation right here, and since 1 times each of these just stays the same, we can just write negative 2k plus 4 is equal to negative k plus 7. Then if we add 2k to both sides, we're going to get 4 is equal to k plus 7. And if we subtract 7 from both sides, we get that k is equal to negative 3. This will be our solution. Now if you wanted to check this, feel free to take this negative 3 and substitute it in each of these locations where you see k, and then find the slope of these 2 points, and it should match this 1 that we got earlier. Let's try another one together. In this problem, we're going to find the value of k again. And this time it looks like we're going through these 2 points of 4k plus 3 comma k plus 1 and k minus 6 comma negative 2k plus 3. Let's call these our x1 and y1 expressions and our x2, y2 expressions. Now the line that's going to be going through these 2 points is going to be perpendicular to another line that goes through these 2 points. For this other line, 2 comma 3 can be our x1, y1, and this 2 comma 8 will be our x2, y2. Now what we're going to do for this problem is we will go ahead and use these 2 points first because these are much nicer numbers and we can find the slope of this line. And then we're going to have to use the opposite reciprocal slope of that to figure out the slope of the other line since these 2 lines are perpendicular to each other. So let's start by finding the slope of these 2 points. So here's our slope formula, and if we go ahead and substitute in our values, we're going to get this 8 minus 3 over 2 minus 2, which is equal to 5 over 0, which is going to be undefined. Hopefully this makes sense because if you were to plot these 2 points down, they would make a vertical line if you connected them. So the slope is undefined. So if we know the slope of this line is going to be undefined because it's a vertical line, then its perpendicular line needs to be horizontal. A horizontal line is going to have a slope of 0. So we know that's going to be the slope of this line over here. So let's go ahead and focus in on these 2 points over here and figure out this expression for the slope. So plugging in the y2, y1, x2, and x1, we're going to get this expression right over here. And if we go ahead and distribute these negative signs to these second expressions, we can go ahead and clean this up a little bit and then write this expression right here. Next, let's go ahead and combine these k terms in the numerator as well as the denominator. Combining those like terms, we're going to get this negative 3k first in the numerator, and then we're also going to be getting this negative 3k in the denominator. And then combining these constants of 3 minus 1 and this negative 6 minus 3, we're going to end up getting this plus 2 on top, and then a minus 9 on bottom. All right, so this right here is the slope for this second line. And remember from earlier that the slope of the other line was undefined, so we knew it was a vertical line. So we know the slope for this line, since it's a horizontal line, if it's perpendicular, has to be equal to 0. So one slope was undefined for a vertical line. So we know the slope for this line is going to be 0 for a horizontal line. The opposite reciprocal of undefined is always going to be equal to 0. All right, so let's go ahead and take this equation and solve for k. We can go ahead and take this equation and multiply both sides by this negative 3k minus 9, and they're going to go ahead and cancel out on the right side. And on the left side, that's just going to equal 0 since we're multiplying by 0. So we're going to get 0 is equal to negative 3k plus 2. Then if we subtract 2 from both sides, we're going to get negative 2 is equal to negative 3k. And then finally, if we divide both sides by negative 3, we find out that k is going to equal positive 2/3. This would be the value for k that would make this equation true. So we have a slope that is perpendicular, where one of them is going to be undefined, and that's the vertical line, and 2/3 would cause this second line to have a horizontal slope, which is just going to have a horizontal slope of 0. Again, feel free to take this 2/3 and then plug it in into each of these points, and you can go ahead and find the slope just to verify that the slope does equal 0, and that should work out. Alrighty, so that wraps up this video on finding some missing values of k. Applying our understanding of parallel and perpendicular lines, specifically their slopes, hopefully that helped you understand a little bit better how to find these missing values. Now, if you found the video helpful, please consider sharing with a classmate or friend who might also find it helpful. And as always, keep with the great work that you're already doing, and I'll see you in the next one.